Gen Z bustin' a mini. Gen Z bustin' a mini. Itty bitty titties in a ball. Itty bitty titties in a ball. 5'3" in an attitude. 5'3" in an attitude. Secret product in the trench. Secret product in the trench.
No! No! Why?
At 2 roads.
December 14th, December 28th. Those are Saturdays.
Those are Saturdays. We're doing a Saturday show.
And we
Those
lowered
are great,
the
right?
ticket price for a special Christmas gift because I know it cuts into your Christmas shop. Only $35. Makes a great Christmas gift, by the way. Get your somebody you know loves Jimmy Dore show. Come see the live stand-up show with Jimmy Dore and friends.
Thank you, Jimmy. Thank you. All right, here we go. Steph and Jimmy, just adopt Kurt. Make it easy. Done.
Kurt, you know what we did for the last Rumble Time shows at the 2 Roads? Oh, you were there.
No, not the last one.
We rented a trailer with a nice.
No, I was there for the first night of trailer.
Yeah, the second trailer was better because it had a bathroom in it.
What?
Yeah, top shelf.
It had a top shelf bath. I had to get. We had Roseanne on the show. I had to get it.
I felt bad peeing. Oh man, I wouldn't have peed in the sink if I knew.
Yeah. Anyway, back to Steph.
That's good. All right, let's see here. Let's refresh, ladies and gentlemen. Refreshing. So, yeah. What's it called? The Prestige?
Yeah.
Prestige. Good. It was a good movie. It was good. But my issue, okay, is I really have to like one of the lead actors. And one of the leading parts. So I didn't find either one of the
I like
leads.
Scarlett Johansson, especially when she was wearing that.
All right, relax. Relax.
It's amazing
Jimmy.
how big their boobs get when they. It was
the
like
bustiers?
Oh my, those bustiers!
I'm gonna wear one tonight at Flappers. Wait till you check out these.
I'm
knockers.
gonna wear one.
Yeah,
you know, big
I like
boobs flopping out at a comedy show. It's great for punchlines. It's great. Yes, Jim.
I wish they made that for my balls.
That's what I was just gonna say that. Why don't they make those for your balls? I'd wear one. Look at that, huh? Show a little neck.
Yeah, that was Brian Posehn would say that. I was showing a
Show
little
a little neck.
Oh.
Yeah.
All right. Love you, Jimmy, Steph, Kerp, and crew. Happy Thanksgiving. I love an American with you. I love being an American with y'all. We feel a good change a-coming. USA, USA, USA. Fernandez. Look at you, Fernandez.
Okay, ready?
Surprising how many optometrists are in the chat. Mike the WAP, 00. Thank you. Back to Jim Jam.
What are they saying?
I don't know. I haven't been reading it. I've been watching you.
Go read what the optometrists
I'm going to read them right
are
now
saying.
with my eyeballs.
So here's Piers Morgan, and you know that so with every war, they have to demonize and dehumanize the people they want to slaughter, right? So, and they'll often say, "Oh, they have rape rooms," right? That's what they said about Saddam Hussein. He has rape rooms.
Rooms of rape.
And then I don't know if you saw the pictures from Abu Ghraib. Turns out we came over and started our own rape rooms.
It's just called prisons.
Yeah. So in the Israeli Palestinian slaughter, they decided to say that Hamas beheaded 40 babies and threw them in ovens. Well, that never happened.
This is a fairy tale. It sounds like Alibaba and the 40.
But Piers Morgan still repeats it. But now here, he repeated that lie. It was debunked immediately by the Gray Zone. And then Ryan Grimm hijacked the reporting and used it as their own. What's the name of their new...
The Grimm Zone?
No, they started their a new drop site news. So, which I'm sure is funded by the same people. They just wanted to rebrand themselves. But anyway, here we go. Here's Piers Morgan going to get caught in a big fat lie. Watch this.
If rape occurred, it should have been investigated, prosecuted, and the responsible people should be held to
UN says
justice.
it did happen.
No, the point is, no,
You
the
work at
UN
the UN.
said, no, the UN, the UN is there are political appointees and then human rights appointees, and the Commission of Inquiry concluded that there was no.
So Piers Morgan wrong right away. He's wrong. He's saying that the mass rapes that did happen on October 7th. He said the UN said so, and she just points out no, the Human Rights Inquiry concluded that there were none. Didn't happen. That's another thing that the Gray Zone debunked that Ryan Grimm stole and reported as his own reporting. No kidding. I'm not making that up. That's the kind of people they are.
Don't forget Ben Shapiro putting a Boston Market chicken photo out and saying it was a baby.
And I didn't hear about that. That happened?
Remember Ben Shapiro put those fake photos and it was a rack of lamb?
Yeah.
They're hanging them on clotheslines.
But
How
that
do
woman,
people believe this?
But I like that woman did not get intimidated. So we are at the very end of an era where someone with a British accent is intimidating to anyone. So this is good because she pushed right back on him. Watch, listen to this again.
If rape occurred, it should have been investigated, prosecuted, and the responsible people
But the
should be
UN
held to
says
justice.
it did happen.
No, the
No.
point is,
No, they don't.
no,
You
the
work at
UN
the UN.
said, no, the UN, the UN is there are political appointees and then human rights appointees, and the Commission of Inquiry concluded that in June that there was no evidence to support the claims of gang rape. But let's assume I don't.
I like how she says gang. Gang.
Where's she from?
I don't know.
That's a spicy report.
say anything that I've not investigated. So let's assume that rape occurred. So does it justify what Israel has done?
A lot of people would say yes. A lot of people would say, "Do you condemn Hamas?" They never say, "Do you condemn Israeli 75-year occupation, the Nakba, the mowing of the lawn, the siege that they're doing, systematically starving them? Any of that?"
No, I want to work.
You could no. I want to
lose my teaching position at the university.
That's right.
What the reason why?
No, I'm curious why,
Yeah.
as a woman who works at the United Nations, why you would even want to have a specter of doubt about it. I've read so many
because of the beheaded babies, because of the claim of beheaded babies. How many journalists? Sorry, Pierce, including yourself.
So, correct me if I'm wrong. Piers Morgan is like, why, as a woman, would you have any doubt about someone making an accusation of gang rape to justify a slaughter of people? What? Did he really say that?
This is Piers, who doesn't even believe Meghan Markle's assertions that the royal family wasn't nice.
This guy, Piers Morgan, is the kind of out-of-touch guy who would blame Galileo for blasphemy. Here we go.
Have amplified this news and used this argument of the beheaded babies.
What do you think I said?
Well, you have.
So she just said, why would I doubt it? Because the beheaded baby story was all garbage. And people who use this go along with that. And he goes, what do you think I said? What do I think you said about beheaded babies? Well, here we go.
What do you think I said?
You have asked the people, do you condemn Hamas? And you have mentioned the beheaded babies.
What do you think I said?
What do you mean what I think you said?
She just told you what you said. You asked people if they condemn Hamas, and then you mentioned the beheaded babies. That's what she thinks you said.
That's what mentioned means.
Yes.
Back to me what you think I said about babies.
Beheaded babies.
Yeah.
Did you say that or not?
All I've seen ever since.
Did you say that or not?
I'm about to answer you. All I've seen ever since is that I apparently said that up to 40 babies have been beheaded. I never said that. I choked.
Well, obviously, Piers Morgan does not understand how video playback works.
Huh.
Yeah.
Because here we're going to show you that Piers Morgan, however tiny his dick is, he has still figured out a way to fuck himself with it. Here we go.
Up earlier, reading this new revelation about 40 babies being killed.
Oh my God.
And some of them being beheaded. And I was like, how can any human being do that to a baby?
I don't
Zionism?
know.
It's completely untrue.
You said.
So he just said it's completely untrue. He never said it. I just showed you the video. There's a video of you saying it. You just said, there's a video. There's the video. You said it.
Chris Cuomo syndrome.
This is Chris Cuomo syndrome. This is. Hey, what's the difference between a Piers Morgan and a possum? Answer: a possum can't catch rabies and actually cares about their young. How about that? Here we go.
Oh no! Look. You have referred to, I don't know if 40, you have referred to the beheaded babies or to the babies
I
killed.
talked about babies being killed, people being beheaded, which they were, because you know how we know that? Because Hamas broadcast it on their GoPro cameras.
So this is the part of the video where I easily could include the countless videos of Israeli soldiers filming themselves, although not on GoPro cameras, committing countless war crimes day in, day out for the past year. But I won't, because a quick search on X will unearth them all for you.
Look, I'm not going to justify or to condone any crimes that were committed on October 7th. My question is, what purpose does it serve? Because the only animus I had when I tweeted what you just read, is let's try to diffuse the tension, because this language, this evocation of the barbarism of the Palestinians represented an existential threat. What about the rape that is documented against hundreds of Palestinians in Israeli jails? Can we talk about that?
Here's the thing.
Because we have evidence of this.
Fine. Here's what I would say to you.
Of course, when Francesca brings up the systematic rape of Palestinians by Israeli soldiers and police, which, by the way, has been going on for decades, Pierce doesn't want to talk about it. But you know who did talk about it? Josh Paul, the former State Department official who resigned over the Biden administration's complicity in genocide.
I think at the same time we condemn those atrocities, we have to condemn the atrocities that happen every day to Palestinians in the West Bank. You mentioned sexual violence. I was part of the human rights vetting process for arms going to Israel, and a charity called Defense of Children International Palestine drew our attention at the State Department to the sexual assault, actually the rape of a 13-year-old boy that occurred in an Israeli prison in the Moscovia in Jerusalem. We examined these allegations. We believe they were credible. We put them to the government of Israel. And you know what happened the next day? The IDF went into the DCIP offices and removed all their computers and declared them a terrorist entity. I think it is vital that atrocities not happen to anyone, not sexual violations, not any kind of gross violation of human rights. We are looking at a situation where there is so much dehumanification, where people are not seen for the value that they have. And I think that's true whether you're talking about those who are attacked on their kibbutz or those who are attacked in their homes in Gaza or in the West Bank. What we really need is to center the human beings who are at the core and who are suffering so much in this conflict.
I actually resent anybody who tries to downplay or mitigate the barbarism of what Hamas did that day, because it was utterly barbaric. It was medieval in its barbarism.
So, yes, you whistling tea kettle, because of the barbaric actions of one side, the children of the other side must all be slaughtered. That's the point she keeps making to you. No matter what happened on October 7th, it doesn't justify, A, the 75-year occupation and brutal murder and rape systematically of the Israelis, of the Palestinians, or the slaughter that's happened since. Some people say over 200,000 people have now been slaughtered. Credible accounts, credible numbers of up to 200,000 people. They stopped counting in January when it was at 44,000.
Okay, not one part of it, by the way, the Palestinians part, was medieval. They had guns, they used hang gliders, and attacked a rave. There's nothing medieval in there, okay? All the things that he's calling medieval are the fake things that didn't happen.
That's right.
Such as baby beheadings and all that
gang
bullshit
rapes
didn't happen. Yeah.
The reason we know that,
that's
beyond
modern.
any doubt, is they were proudly broadcasting it to the world.
Pierce, I find utterly horrific any crime against any civilian, body or collective. I do not distinguish people because of the color of the skin, because of their ethnicity, religion. This doesn't matter to me. For me, the life of civilians is sacred. And this is why I'm so horrified by years and years I've spent documenting and reporting on the violations of Palestinians. And I'm someone who has produced scholarship on Palestinian forced displacement. So 76 years and even more since British colonialism in Palestine. For 100 years, these people have been tormented. So two wrongs don't make a right. This is the only thing I can say.
Okay. The most unspeakable of so many disgusting Hamas atrocities now confirmed. There he is. Babies and toddlers were found with their heads decapitated in Kafar.
No, that was true.
That's not true. That, again, the people who are spreading the misinformation is the corporate media. It's the government of Israel, and then the corporate media in the United States. Those are the biggest, by far the biggest spreaders of misinformation, disinformation, and flat out lies would be the government and then the corporate media. And there it is.
Wait, but Jimmy, if we heard fake news about Canada beheading babies, we would go in there and kill all of their kids and put them in a concentration camp. I think you'll agree with that.
What happened to Piers Morgan? What happened to that optimistic red-cheeked schoolboy? What did the royal family make you ritually shove up your ass? That's my question. All right, over to the super chat.
Okie dokie. Thank you, Jimmy. Let's open a couple of these up. All right, let's look here. Pierce needs an on-air humiliation to come. Oh, Eric got right to it.
Yeah, he's on. You watch him humiliate himself.
Yeah. Jimmy Mossadegh was PM of Iran, then lost the election because the oil company stole it from him. Unlike Trump, he didn't leave. Thus, they cooed him. David. Jimmy, would you have Martin Armstrong on your show? Jonathan Ventura.
I don't know who that is.
I don't either.
Okay.
Back to Jim Jam.
So you want to see Norman Finkelstein? Sounds pretty Jewish to me.
He's Jewish?
Can you believe it?
I thought it was like Whoopi Goldberg, like he just took the name Finkelstein.
So he goes on Piers Morgan, and Piers Morgan does he's done all the usual, do you condemn Hamas and Hamas is bad, as if that justifies the slaughter of 200,000 people, most of them women and children, babies. So they're slaughtering babies, literally blowing their heads off. And I can't even show you the video because they'll demonetize it and I'll get a strike. But here, Norman Finkelstein is gonna set Piers Morgan straight here. Here we go.
No, straight question.
Now let me
question. Hang on. Let me.
Okay.
Hang on. I actually don't disagree with your assessment, right? I do think Israel has exercised a control over the people of Gaza ever since they said they ceded control to a government. But let me ask you one question before you finish your answer.
It's funny how he says control. The Israeli has exercised
like a prison?
Control. You mean like an open-air prison, like an occupation? You mean like that?
And then pay Hamas inside the prison, by the way?
Yeah.
I condemn Hamas. Netanyahu didn't.
So, which is this. Hamas. There can be no doubt that Hamas was given billions of dollars, a lot of it encouraged by Netanyahu, given billions of dollars, which they did, in fact, squander. Which they did squander to the detriment of their people, which they did by building all these tunnels, right? And which they did in the end when they invaded Israel on October the 7th, they knew absolutely what would happen. And therefore, in that moment, they sentenced to death tens of thousands of their own people. Would you quibble with that?
So what he's saying, he's blaming the slaughter, again, of children and women and the elderly, not on the people who are doing the slaughtering, but on the victims of it. That's what he's doing.
You made me hit you.
That's right. You made me. Did you hear? That's right. That's like blaming the woman for being beaten by her husband. Well, she knew if she said that, he was going to beat her. She knew it. That's exactly what he's doing. Again, he has no animus. He has no outrage for what the Israeli are doing. Why? Because
a concentration camp? He calls it just control.
That's right. He calls it concentration camp control. Okay, here we go.
Don't forget, the leaders are billionaires.
Okay.
The leaders are billionaires.
I will actually, with all.
I mean, let's just put it this way. Piers Morgan would have blamed the start of World War II on Jesse Owens. That's put it that way.
He must have known.
Here we go.
Respect, because I respect the facts. I'll quibble with everything you said. Number one, the money that went into Gaza, mostly from European countries and other international organizations, they monitored where the money went very carefully. They weren't about to endow Hamas. There's no evidence.
How did Hamas build all the tunnels?
I'll tell you.
Well, how did they afford to?
They don't have one penny of accountability.
I'll come to you.
Not one penny of
I'll come to you to respond.
Okay, allow me.
I will challenge both of you, but don't shout over each other.
No one penny of accountability. He's living in an alternate universe.
European governments and many of the international economic organizations, the International Monetary Fund, the World Bank, UNCTAD, UN Conference for Trade and Development, they all put out on probably a quarterly basis very precise reports on Gaza. None, and I've read all the reports over 10 or 20 years now, 17 years, none of the reports have claimed that the catastrophe, the economic catastrophe in Gaza, has been caused by Hamas. None. Now, if you claim that you have more expertise in the subject than the IMF and the World Bank and UNCTAD, well, you can believe that. I personally don't believe that. The claim of all of these international respected organizations is the main source, the root cause of the catastrophe in Gaza prior to October 7th. The root cause has been the medieval blockade that Israel imposed on it, and which Human Rights Watch, just in November 2024, a month ago, Human Rights Watch described as, quote, a crime against humanity.
Okay, but how did
Okay, yes, sure. Okay. Isn't it amazing how he just wants to gloss over what he just said? So what he just said debunked everything Piers Morgan asserted. Is that, well, they've got billions of dollars to Hamas, and then they didn't use it to help their own people. They used it to build tunnels and do a war. Why didn't they? So he's blaming the poverty and the concentration camp conditions where the Israelis literally control the amount of calories each Palestinian consumes a day. This is before the war. He's blaming that on Hamas because they got billions of dollars. He just debunked that. There was lots of oversight over that. And the actual conclusion is that the poverty and the malnutrition inside Gaza is to be blamed on the blockade that Israel is imposing on Gaza, which is an open-air prison or a concentration camp. They control everything that goes into Gaza and everything that goes out, including the money that was given to Hamas. They control that. They made that happen. Okay, and he just got that explained to him, and Piers Morgan. Okay. Let's.
The problem is
how did Hamas afford
to
build all these tunnels?
You know, Piers,
I'm gonna guess shovels and manpower. How about that?
The most expensive equipment there is. Shovels.
I never quarrel with facts. I'll give you an honest answer.
How did they afford?
He's going to tell you there's no tunnels in a minute, Piers.
Well, I think the amount of tunnels has been vastly exaggerated, but I'll admit I can't prove that.
Right.
I've talked to civil engineers in Gaza about the possibility Israel claims 450 miles of tunnels. I find that totally incredible.
There are billions of dollars worth of tunnels. You accept that?
I don't know. I'm not a civil engineer.
He wants us to remain in power. That's
what I do know,
to here.
I'm perfectly willing to discuss. What I don't know, I'm not a civil engineer. I can't answer. What I can say is the following. Let's get back to the question of what's happened in Gaza. You said Israel is in a war with Hamas.
Yes.
So has the other guest in this room.
Yeah.
My name is Fleur.
What is
No
your
one
name?
cares,
Fleur.
bitch.
Fleur. So has Fleur. Let me ask you a simple question, okay? If you're at war with Gaza, why are you shooting children in the skull and in the chest? The New York Times published an article on that, came under a lot of flack because they published that article. They said we can't refute the evidence. We have the x-rays in front of us. They're shooting children in the head, in the skull, and in the chest. If you're engaged in the war in Gaza, why are you killing journalists? Why are you killing medics? Why are you killing UN workers? If you're engaged in the war with Hamas, why is it that Human Rights Watch just this past week put out a report? They tell people where to flee. They say, go to the safe zones. Human Rights Watch says, when the people are directed, they're being shot at the road.
But are you seriously saying, hang on.
When they get to the safe areas.
I understand. I've already made that point.
Israel drops 2,000-pound bombs on
I've made
them.
that very point.
Does that sound like a war?
No,
or does that sound like a genocide?
What is...
So there you go. It sounds like a genocide to a human, but it sounds like business as usual to a sociopath.
By the way, the definition of genocide, I was like, oh, maybe it's an ethnic cleansing and not. No, the one that came out of Nuremberg, okay, which should be the one Israel approves of, by the way, It's a genocide. By the definitions after the Holocaust of what genocide is that everybody agreed on, that's what it is.
Hang on, let me I want to play something for you. So here is the former U.S. Secretary of State Colin Powell's Chief of Staff, Colonel Lawrence Wilkerson. And he's going to tell you how you should be looking at this.
The Palestinians had every right to do what they did on October the 7th. Israel has been under the UN Charter as an occupying power and under Geneva since 1967. It has never fulfilled its responsibilities as an occupying power, never intended to fulfill them.
So what is your responsibility as an occupying power? So it's just like the people who control a prison. You have a responsibility to feed those people. You have a responsibility to make sure they have water, to make sure they have medical care, to make sure they have heating, to make sure that they're housed and safe. They're not doing any of that. Israelis not doing it. In fact, they're starving them. They're using starvation as a weapon of war. And it's not a war, as Roman Finkelstein just pointed out. It's not a war. That's not a war. It's a genocide. Okay, here we go.
In fact, it has dispossessed the Palestinians of their lands, of their orchards, destroyed their homes, killed their children. It is an irresponsible, under the law, occupying power. Therefore, the Palestinians had every right to do what they did on October the 7th. Every time that F-16 flies over Gaza and drops that 250-pound bomb and kills that child, you are guilty, America.
So under UN Charter, if you are being occupied, you have a right to fight back against that occupation. You have a right to use violence against your occupiers. That's according to the UN. That's what he's talking about there. That's the former Chief of Staff to Colin Powell. And why does he say some stuff like that? Because he's not on Jeffrey Epstein's flight list. That's why. And that's not a joke. That's why he's able to say what he's saying. He didn't take the money from the military-industrial complex, from Raytheon and Boeing and Halliburton. He didn't take the easy money. He didn't go to Jeffrey Epstein's island. He's not compromised. And he's not looking to get rich off of the military-industrial complex money. That's why he's one of, there's like 2 or 3 guys in the entire country who speak like this from a position of authority, and he's one of them. And none of them are on Epstein's flight log, and none of them take money from the military-industrial complex, and they can't be controlled.
By the way,
and that's why they never invite this guy on CNN or MSNBC or Fox News. He's never invited on, ever. Go ahead.
Hey, do you guys condemn Jeffrey Epstein, the James Bond of Israel, the rapes that he did? Well, along with, do you condemn the rapes? Epstein Island was for Israel. That was Israel's guy. That's their operation. So it's okay for Israel to use that? Child trafficking to defend it? Are you joking?
So there you go. Great job, Piers Morgan. You know, I've been invited on that show. More? I've been invited on that show many times. I turned it down at least 3 or 4 times, and then I went on once. Ugh. And it felt like a complete waste of time.
I told you ahead of time. Dave Smith could do it because Piers has a little bit of a chubby for him. You know, so he lets a young boy speak.
I mean, I guess, you know, he gets a big audience. So, but I went on with 4 other people, and it's like you're not even. I would like to go on as Jackson Hinkle went on. It was just him, and it was Jackson the Hair, and that guy.
Yeah. Well,
and Piers Morgan, right? That was it. Maybe there was one other guy there. I think there was the guy from Trigonometry.
Jackson makes him horny. If you make him horny, he'll let you talk.
Yeah. Oh, look, they invited me on for Monday.
Norman Finkelstein's the best because he'll remain calm. If I had that toucan lady yapping next to me while I'm trying to make my point and Piers' stupidity, I would not remain calm.
I mean, I won't be going out on. Well, I don't get anything out of it.
I think it's very dissatisfying
It's
when
very
I watch
dissatisfying.
it. It's like, I was watching when they had supposedly liberals on and conservatives, and it's just everybody's yelling. Nobody's going to get their point across. It just seems like it's just, news porn. I don't even know what it is.
It's the wheel of Samsara, the wheel that everyone's stuck on. That's the Piers Morgan show. And it just goes around and around the same stupid loop, and it achieves nothing.
Yes.
It achieves nothing. That's what most of these things are for. All the debates that you see online, that it's like, Horse Lord versus Bestacuck, and they stink. It's just to occupy people in a loop and never get to the heart of the matter. And the whole goal is, once you start to make a point, to stop you from making a point. That's why you got to have hair like Jackson Hinkle and be young, or a young Dave Smith, and you can maybe break through based on your sex appeal to an old queen.
Okay, over to Steph.
All right. Hamas tunnel was built by CCP. It's what it is, Victor. Turtle and hair is better than Piers Morgan, Eric.
Well, it's funnier.
They are better.
It's funnier.
Yeah, they definitely are more entertaining. Yes, Martin Armstrong, the people's economist and political prisoner, he will accept your offer to do a segment. Insk. Thank you, Insk. Pierce needs an on-air humiliation to come. Oh, I read that again. All right. Maybe that'll help him. I heard Rachel Maddow is shopping houses in Europe, Victor Shea. I'm sure she probably already has one. Surprising how many optometrists are in the chat. Okay, so stand by. I think maybe one more story and then we'll jump back over to Rumble. So this last story, what do you think? Is it a good time? All right. Goo81 or with Joe Rogan show with Abby Martin, there is an IDF t-shirt that says one shot, two kills, and shows a picture of a target on a pregnant Palestinian woman. That's disturbing. And he told it to Joan Collins like she's knowledgeable of the worldwide news. Why not say the IDF, a baby for God's sake, when they get sniped twice in the head? Goo81. I know Dr. Jack Cruz has been talked about a lot lately, so adding more. He talks about eye health and repairing a lot of eye issues using UV light, red light therapy. Check out jackcruz.com. I'll make sure that Jimmy sees that with his good eyes. Of course, they threw babies in ovens. Didn't you see them flying in with the ovens on their backs? By the way, who brings babies to a rave? Bad parenting. Vienticus Prime. Hey, Jim, I saw you in Rotterdam this year. You were on fire. Greetings from Europe. Thank you, Roberto. That was great. Rotterdam was great. There is a homeopathic treatment to dissolve eye floaties, but I can't remember what it's called. Animo, I'll look it up. Animo. If the spots, lights in the vision are moving to the side of the eyes, it's a visual migraine, or as Picasso was said to have them. I've had them. Gil 27. I'm surprised Warner Wolf hasn't become a meme with all these then and now compilation videos with his let's go to the videotape. It's a thing that needs to happen, in my opinion. Vienticus Prime. The Israel Finance Minister Smotrich said on camera, we will settle in Gaza with half of the Gaza population removed. They also have army badges showing the greater Israel map. Goo81. When they killed the original Hamas leader, Ismail Haniyeh, in Tehran, Israel used precision strike that targeted his room, but the area and the building was intact with 3 killed compared to Gaza. Goo81. There are videos showing Hamas are still digging tunnels. It's not hard, and they use basic tools. Goo81. T-Box, remember the objective of Hamas on October 7th was a military operation to collect intel on the IDF, Mossad, Shin Bet, and provide the opportunity for hostage exchange. Jimmy, what are your thoughts on Matt Getz agreeing with Cenk? Why has he not been on with you? Can Tucker or someone put you in touch with Steve Bannon for an interview? Alt Scown, I know, I would like to have Matt Getz on. I also want Thomas Massey, but they haven't been available. I know we've reached out to Thomas Massey's people. Let's get Matt Getz on the show. Pierce had a pic with Ghislaine Maxwell, or Ghislaine Maxwell, and then said, I didn't know who she is. Now you know why there's why there's always, do you condemn Hamas? Goo81. Let's see here. Let me refresh. Let's see here. Yella Von Jella says Thomas Massey is a stud. All right. Thank you for that one. Let's see. Did I get something new here? Oh, geez. What does this one say? I didn't know Gavin Newsom was related to Nancy Pelosi by marriage. Marcus, yeah. Gross, right? I misspoke the other day. The Sykes-Picot Agreement happened in 1918. All that area cannot go to Israel. Down with the Greater Israel Project. Savage. Mr. Wilkerson used 2B on MSNBC, mostly Ed Schultz. Oh, Mr. Wilkinson used to be on MSNBC, mostly with Ed Schultz. Roger Meadows. Thank you, Roger. Good to hear from you. Bring Gavork Almazian from Syriana Analysis. If you haven't yet, I'm sure you'll like his work. By the way, love the show. Mr. U2. Thank you, Mr. U2. I'm curious to hear your opinion. What should Trump do? Negotiate a peace treaty? He's clearly going to be Israel friendly. How do we fix this? Well, that's a great question. Can I ask you again, Jimmy? You want to hear this question?
Yeah, there's no way to. You can come to me. There's no way to fix it. It's already done. They already. They say it'll take 15 years just to get the rubble out of Gaza because it's been turned into rubble. There's like, I heard a statistic: 250 million tons of rubble. They just flattened it. They wanted to make it. They wanted to make it unlivable. So it's already done. And who did that? Kamala Harris and Joe Biden and Benjamin Netanyahu.
Wait, Jimmy, if Canada attacked us, wouldn't we blow up every single building in the country of Canada?
So it's already done. The only thing you can hope is that Trump stops the slaughter. It looks like I have a feeling that he's going to allow them to officially annex the West Bank, even though they control it anyway. It's not good. There was no good option. The only thing you can hope is that Trump stops the slaughter. There's only and stops a war with the Israel is provoking with Iran and Lebanon. That's the only thing you can hope for. That's the best case scenario. Gaza has already been wiped out. They've already slaughtered 200,000 of their people. Okay, back to Steph.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, we've got some stand-up dates coming up. And on December 14th and the 28th, we'll be at Two Roads, and that's a stand-up show. The tickets are only $35, so it should be a blast. Those are always fun. At Two Roads, and I think the curtain goes up at 7:30 at those shows. I'm pretty sure Saturday night. And this says, going in for the 2 of shit-lived dinners, reciting the abridged Serenity Prayer. Fuck it. Ham hock. And March 14th and 15th, we'll be in Magoobies in Baltimore. Magoobies, April 3rd, Atlantic City at the Claridge Hotel. Also, you can check us out at Cahoe's Music Hall, April 5th, and Providence, Rhode Island at the Comedy Connection, April 6th. And did I mention Honolulu on January 11th at Hawaiian Brian's? Be there. That should be fun. I'm excited about that. Vacation, and then we get to do a show, and those are really fun. All right, let's see here. Okay, let me just see if I have another one. Oh, this is interesting. Rob for Trump said, Getz, the only Trump appointment that was clean and hadn't taken money from Israel.
Yep.
Anybody trashing him is a pedo. Look at you. Hey, I would also get Mahmoud OD on. He has been interviewed by Jackson Hinkle. And here's news regarding Israel, Palestine, which you would not hear anywhere else. That's a great recommendation, Goo81. Back to Jimmy.